what sort of arrogant person he is. He is such a compassionate guy. Anytime I see her, the first word that comes up in my mind is selfish. Such a selfish girl. My boss is too rigid. He doesn't understand anything. Oh, that friend. He is always there with me whenever I needed him. He is such a supportive and helpful guy. Oh, that guy. He needs each and everything in a perfect manner. Such a perfectionist.
Well, these are the few ways in which we describe somebody we know. But the question comes here is that how did that person whom we are referring to gain this particular characteristic feature? Is it his genes who is responsible for this? Or is it his childhood experiences which has transferred him to the kind of person who he is now? Or is it the person himself who is responsible for this? Let's try to find the answer. Myself, Subhashish Bhoi. Professionally, I am a doctor and currently being trained in psychiatry. It is the story of Akshay, a 35-year-old gentleman, and Rashi, his wife, a 32-year-old female. They were married since last 3 years and they were expecting their first baby in coming 2 months. To their surprise, they were not just going to be the parents of one kid, rather they were going to be the parents of 2 kids at a time. That's what the ultrasound report said. 2 months passed and Rashi gave birth to 2 healthy baby boys. And to that, he was so happy and excited with that. He immediately distributed sweets among all the hospital staffs present over there. He also had not forgotten to post an Instagram story of these 2 kids mentioning that blessed with 2. Ranveer, Akshay's best friend. When he saw the Instagram post, he immediately called Akshay and congratulated him. But at the same time, he shared that how sad he is that even after 6 long years of trying to have a baby, he is not able to have that. He has tried all possible medical interventions, but nothing has worked for them. He even told that he would love to adopt one of his child if he doesn't have any problem. To that, Akshay got a bit confused, but told that he will discuss the matter with his wife and then we will call back him. Later on, Akshay discussed the matter with Rashi and also with the parents, and they came to a conclusion that they would love Ranveer to adopt one of the child. And Akshay informed about this decision to Ranveer. And at that moment, Ranveer was so excited and so thankful. He even broke down to tears at that moment. When a newborn baby is startled by a loud noise or a sudden movement, he reacts in a particular way. He suddenly extends his arms and legs and then curls everything in again. This is in response to the fear he is able to feel. This is what we call as a startle reflex. But what researchers were able to find is that the intensity of this reflex and the threshold of sound which is able to produce this reflex is not the same for every child. That is, in some children, even less amount of sound is able to produce this reflex, and in other children's, even more louder sound is not able to produce this reflex, which means that there is something innate inside these children which is responsible for this variation. And what is that? It is the genes they have inherited. Yes, in further studies, the scientists are even able to locate a set of genes which is responsible for modulating the amount of fear that the child is going to feel in response to a particular stimulus. But how? These genes alter the way our neurons are interconnected with each other in our brain. And that's how they modulate the amount of fear that the child is going to. Put it simply, some people are more prone to feel fear as compared to others, and that can be traced back to their genes which they have inherited from their parents. In just the similar way, there are other sets of genes which decides how a child is going to react whenever a new toy or a new object is given to him. Some children would get so excited about that, and some other children would not get that excited. There are other sets of genes which decides how a child is going to react whenever someone hugs him or someone praises him. Some children would get very happy about that. Others may not be that happy with this. These are what we call it as temperamental traits of a child. There are infinite number of combinations possible of these traits, and a child can have only one of these combinations. Now, coming back to the story, both these couples have already done with the naming ceremony of these 2 kids. They have named them as Aman and stayed with Akshay and stayed with Ranveer. Both these kids would get so excited whenever a new toy is given to them. But at the same time, they would get easily bored of the same toy. And both these kids were absolutely fearless. They would not feel fear, not to the loud sounds, not even to any kind of threatening stimulus. Rather, they will feel happy about them. Both these children have similar kind of temperamental traits as they have the same genes because they were twins. But they grew up into completely different setups. Different city, different parents, different relatives, different school, different friends. Everything was different for them. As the child grows, he learns a lot about himself and about the external world. He learns that whether to consider himself responsible for whatever happens in his life or to blame it on others. He learns that whether he needs to act in a purposeful manner or just to act in an aimless manner. He learns the rules and principles by which he needs to get along with other people. He learns that whether he needs to be a compassionate, empathetic and helpful person or to be just a selfish, insensitive and rude person. And most of these learnings are based on his interactions with his parents, with his siblings, with his teachers, with his friends. Not only the interactions, but also by observing these people, he learns all this. Now, coming back to these two kids, Aman and Navdeep, they have grown up as an adults. Aman has become an adult who is completely irresponsible for everything what he does. He doesn't take any responsibility, rather he prefers to blame it on others. He is not able to set or pursue any sort of goals. Whereas on the other hand, Navdeep has become that guy who is completely self-sufficient. He takes responsibility for everything, whatever happens in his life. And he pursues every sort of goals he sets. This marked difference in the characteristic of these two persons can be attributable to the two completely different sets of environment where they grew up. There are different sets of parents, there are different sets of teachers, there are different sets of siblings, different sets of relatives. And this all have resulted in development up to completely opposite set of characters. But they both were equally excited when they approached any sort of new thing because this is what their temperament was since their childhood. So in the excitement of trying out new things, what Aman did was Aman got exposure to drinking alcohol at a very early age. He also got exposure to smoking cigarettes, smoking cannabis at a very early age. And by the age of 24, he is already addicted to alcohol. At that time, he is not even able to help his father in managing his family-owned business. But also excited by trying new things, he started reading new books and he feels a great sense of excitement whenever he reads one. He had read very different types of encyclopedias when he was in his 8th or 9th grade. He has even tried to do experiments in a different way in his chemistry labs. And by the age of 24, he has already joined as a reputed scientist in a college. Somehow, they both got married within few years. And within 2 years of marriage, and Aman was even blessed with a cute little baby. But the personal life of Aman was not going well. He was having continuously conflicts, arguments with his wife, with his parents because of the addiction. His wife even tried a lot to get him out of addiction, but she was not successful. And one day, his wife thought that I could not tolerate anymore, and he decided to end the relationship, and he got away from Aman with the kids and filed for a divorce. And that night, Aman broke down completely. He was crying all throughout the night. He was completely shattered, banging his head over the wall throughout the night. He was caught up with the questions that are coming up in his mind, that what I am doing in my life, what is the purpose of my life? These all questions didn't let him sleep that night. And trying to find answers to these questions, he looked inside and he got a little awareness about his own behaviors and thoughts, which has been so detrimental for him since years. And the next morning, what he did, for the first time in the last 2 years, he did not went to the wine shop in the morning. Rather, he went to the doctor for the treatment of his addiction. And this is the first day of his journey of self-transformation. And throughout this journey, he became more and more aware about his own thoughts and behaviors. And 2 years down the lane, he has become a completely different person. a calm, patient human being, and he was able to reflect on the conflicts which he earlier had with his wife and parents. And the most beautiful thing was that he completely recovered from addiction by now. And the day came when Aman's father himself called his daughter-in-law and explained that how his son has recovered completely from addiction. And he has completely transformed it into a different person. And now how well he is doing in his business. He requested his daughter-in-law that to withdraw the divorce she has filed and to come back and stay with his son. And to this, she agreed. She returned back to the home with the kid. And since then, they both were staying so happily. And not to forget, Aman was that kid who was inherently fearless, and he was approached new things with a great sense of excitement. This has led him to apply all these things in his business also. He has ventured into a lot of different sectors which previously they don't have any experience in, and that has led to massive expansion of the family-owned business, and the revenue has. There are 4 key takeaways from this story. First, our genes mostly decides the emotional part of who we are. This decides how much fear we are going to experience. This decides how much excitement we feel when we approach a new thing. This decides how much happy we are able to feel when someone praises or someone hugs us or someone compliments us. But throughout this development from an infant to adult, we develop various concepts about ourselves, about the society, which consists mostly of the rational part or the logical part of who we are, and they are derived from our interactions with our parents, with our family members, with our siblings. And the third thing is that how much we are self-aware about our own thoughts and behaviors. And these 3 factors interact in a very complex manner to give rise to a unique pattern of thoughts and behaviors. That's what who we are, and that is the thing which we call it as our personality. And the second key takeaway is no one in this world has a perfect personality. We all are imperfect in some other way. Someone may be a shy person, someone may be a very outgoing person, someone may be a little fearful person, someone may be a very daring person, someone may love to explore new things, someone may be a reserved person, someone may be a warm and affectionate person, someone may not be that, someone may be a very ambitious person, someone may not be that. We all lie somewhere in the middle of these extremes of these traits which I have said. We may have some favorable traits, we may not have some favorable ones, but whatever it is, should not we be proud of the uniqueness that we have? I think yes, we should, because accepting ourselves the way we are sets the foundation stone for transforming to the person whom we want to become anyway, if that is required. And the third takeaway is we can transform ourselves to anybody or anyone whom we aspire to become. And this was quite evident from Aman's story, where a divorce with his wife has completely transformed the kind of person he was. But we don't need necessarily a catastrophic event to happen in our life to transform ourselves. Rather, we just need to be more aware about our thoughts, about our emotions we are experiencing, about our own behaviors. That just sets the path easy for the journey of self-transformation. And the fourth key takeaway is now when you see a person yelling at you or getting angry at you or being selfish or being revengeful, then I think you could sense from where it is coming. It is coming out of a complex interactions of his genes, of his childhood experiences, and his level of self-awareness. Now that you know from where it is coming, I think we should not be hard on them or be judgmental about them. Rather, we should be a little sympathetic towards them, making it easier for them to accept themselves and to begin their journey of self-transformation. That's it. Most of the concepts that I have explained in this video are derived from the work of an American psychiatrist, C. Robert Cloniger, who had worked extensively on psychobiology of personality. Thank you for watching this video, and bye bye for now. See you in my next video.